Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicole Witham. I am the coordinator for the WSU Food Systems program. I am coming to you today from our satellite office is actually out here on the Olympic Peninsula. And today I actually get to share a little bit more about myself and the work that I do specifically for the Food Systems program. First of all, you are joining us for First Friday Food Systems Focus, which is a online webinar presentation that we created to help highlight and host our food systems team members throughout the state. So our food systems team is a group of WSU faculty, staff, and critical non-WSU partners that are all specifically doing work in related to food systems. And together they work to promote research and implement different programs and educational opportunities for farmers and communities and consumers. So I work to support that team through a number of different activities, and one of them being this webinar opportunity. And I also convene this team by organizing a yearly retreat and other food systems team gathering opportunities. So anyways, this forum is really to help feature those folks and introduce some of the projects and programs that they're rolling out throughout the state. There's a lot of interesting work that's going on. Today, I'm going to talk to you about cultivating success. Cultivating success, many of you may know it or have heard of it. Some of you may even have taught it. And so today I'm going to do an overview of the program and hopefully be able to give you an idea of what it's for, who's teaching the course, and then how you can interact and connect to upcoming trainings. So bear with me as I'm kind of running my own show here today. I'm managing the chat boards and all the other sharing file interfaces. Real quickly, before I even get started, I do want to let you all know that you have in the bottom of your screen the opportunity to share your video and audio. You can also raise your hand with a little hand raiser guy, and you can also feel free to use the chat box, which is in the lower right-hand corner. So as I'm talking, this is sometimes the best way to interject a question or discussion topic. It's also a great place to drop any links to any offerings that you may have that may add to the discussion as we go. So I am going to share with you right now just a presentation that's an overview of our current Cultivating Success programming. And let's see. So Cultivating Success has a long history, and for some of you, again, like I had said before, you may be really familiar with the program. You may have heard of it before, or you have taken it or know instructors or are an instructor yourself. So really, this program has a lot of deep roots, and I'll get into some of that information for you. And apologies, of course, as always, whenever you upload something, there may or may not be some formatting issues, so hopefully you can read and see everything okay. So Cultivating Success is really a community-based education program that is focused on sustainable small farms. The goal of this program is really to implement educational opportunities that help increase the number and foster the success of sustainable small farms We have worked through a really close partnership with the University of Idaho and their kind of nonprofit extension, nonprofit arm, Rural Roots, to basically create this curriculum. It was created close to 20 years, or just over 20 years ago, in fact, and many of you may know our food systems program actually has roots as the Small Farms program, and that is who kind of initiated the conception of this educational curriculum. So often when I talk about this and utilizing the term small farms, it oftentimes comes up as, what is a small farm? What constitutes a small farm? And it's confusing to some people. And so I wanted to take a moment to kind of just explain that and give you a little bit of information. So small farms are really an interesting thing because they offer a great leverage point for really getting good basic practices in mode. As you can see here, 89% of farms in Washington State are considered small. This is quite a fair number of farms. And so you can see there that the actual numbers, 33,000 and some change of the 37,000 and some change farms overall are considered small in Washington State. They also, 81% of all of these farms are less than 180 acres. So even when we use the terminology small, it's not exactly even explaining the acreage size. So some of you may consider 180 acres to be fairly large, especially dependent on what the crop itself is. So it's not necessarily the acreage. The USDA currently says that a small farm basically is going to be reporting annual sales less than 350,000. It used to be 250,000, and it recently bumped up to 350,000. And again, that is for the USDA's definition. These farms can be a really valuable asset to the regions and communities that they're based within. They really have economic, social, and environmental impacts on a regional scale when we have healthy and viable small farms and businesses. And they produce a diverse number of crops, anything you can think of: fruits, vegetables, flowers, meat, dairy, grains, and even seed crops. Does anyone have any questions about what a small farm is, or what it can be, or what it's even defined as? Again, here I just wanted to show a little bit more of an idea of just how impactful supporting small farms can be. And so, for instance, here you can see, I think the number of acreage is really impactful to look at. 1 to 49 acres, that's 63% of the numbers of farms by acres in Washington State. And also the ethnic kind of demographics of small farms. Oftentimes there's even a stigma of small farms being only hobby farms, and I think that that is something that we kind of continue to educate on. Yes, there are a number of individuals who are only making a very small amount of money off their land. You can see here 45%. So I think that the takeaway here, though, and why we are very dedicated to educating small farmers is that, again, like I had said, there's a really large leverage point for supporting this demographic and maintaining farms and farmland throughout Washington State as farmers age out. So currently, there are 3 core Cultivating Success courses. And these courses are offered throughout the state. I'll talk a little bit more about how they're offered. But currently, we have 3 core courses that we have curriculum for, as well as kind of some farmer mentor training. I will talk a little bit more about this later. We've considered or have used the internship language for many years, and we're kind of shifting our focus to farmer mentor training. So again, I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But the 3 core courses we have is a small farm in your future, which is a one-day intensive course. It's really a precursor. It's really helpful in sorting out and figuring out who is ready to move on to the next step of either more education or even taking the plunge into buying land. The next is whole farm planning, which in the past has also been called sustainable small farming and ranching, or a number of other small acreage titles. We are really looking to utilize or go with the whole farm or whole systems language a lot more with this course. So whole farm planning is what we're calling it. And agricultural entrepreneurship, this is basically a farm and food business planning course. It really dives deep into your business planning. So I'm going to walk you through each of these. But first, I wanted to give you a little bit, and again, sorry for some of the formatting. I wanted to give you a little bit of some information about why cultivating success and this curriculum is unique. So there's kind of 5 core reasons that we really boil this down to. And the 5 reasons, number 1 being farmer mentorship. Basically, saying this means that all of our Cultivating Success courses, whether it's a course or the courses, trainings, or on-farm internships, really focus on pairing and or connecting new and beginning farmers with existing farmers. Oftentimes these farmers are really key folks within their communities. They have a successful farmer food business. They are a really great mentor in the way that they can show what it really takes to have a successful farmer food business. Oftentimes when trying to educate new and beginning farmers, and even those that have farmed in the past or are looking to change up their existing farming, it's great to connect them to real folks within their own community. Secondly, community is that all of these courses are considered community-based, meaning that they are delivered most of the time through extension staff, WSU extension staff, and University of Idaho extension staff. These instructors or coordinators have gone through training in the past and or have been teaching these courses for many years. Currently in Washington State, we have about 10 counties that are offering any of these courses at any given time kind of throughout the year. There is a kind of a rhythm to that, and I can talk a little bit more about that. But basically, you'll see these offered oftentimes in our Mount Vernon area very regularly. Spokane, Clark County, Snohomish County are some of our most regular counties that offer this. And again, this is why we consider these to be community-based. It's also, again, going back to bringing in other community leaders and resources. Experiential learning is another really important part of the Cultivating Success model. We do our best to include on-farm or on-location experiences and field trips. This may also include hands-on kind of opportunities within classes. Sometimes even when it comes to our ecological soil management modules, we'll have a soil scientist in the class with soil where you can feel and grab and understand structure. So really how we deliver this educational model is really important. Whole systems is something that you're seeing and hearing more and more. This language has shifted and changed a little bit throughout the years, but really if you boil it down, all of these courses are really trying to come from a whole systems lens, taking into account not only the land you're utilizing, your own skill sets, your own community resources or personal capital, really trying to give people a framework to come from utilizing a whole systems lens. And then lastly is our small farms focus. So again, these courses are aimed at small farmers, those that suit or fit the demographics that I talked about a little earlier. Another aspect to all of the Cultivating Success courses is the opportunity for participants to get continuing education units, or CEUs. This is something that's often people ask, what's the point? Oops, oh no, I pressed the button too many times. Sometimes people kind of ask, what's the point? Why would I want continuing education units, so on and so forth. So one thing I did want to point out that is really valuable about this is, one, when you go to do an application for financing, for instance, say you're going to go to Northwest Farm Credit Services or the FSA or any of the kind of farm financing programs to apply for funds, you can actually be really explicit that you took these trainings. They know what they are, they're familiar with them, and saying that you have received continuing education units is really helpful. You can also attach kind of the certificate or information with your application proving that you've gone through this educational course. And so we often tell our instructors, if they feel like it's just not worth it or people really aren't interested, that this is really a small asking. It's basically you fill a form out and there's a very small amount, a small fee. It's about $10 to receive the credits. And anyways, this is something that I feel is pretty important. If you're going to take the course, then go for it and get the CEUs. Just why not? This is most likely something that we're going to just build in as regular within all of our courses. But I think it's a great thing to mention about all of the curriculum in general. So I wanted to walk you through each of these courses. And we're going to start real quick just with I'd love to describe to you, this is a newer course that actually was shared with us by our University of Idaho partners. It's something that they created, and we have, on our Washington side, have talked about a course something like this for many years. As I mentioned, this is a one-day intensive. It is basically the precursor to these other longer courses, which are much longer. They are 10 to 12-week courses. So this course offers instructors and community members an opportunity to kind of really assess if they're ready to take the plunge. Are they really ready to become a small farmer or buy land or whatever the case may be? So this will go through how to set your goals, how to assess your resources, how to take personal inventory, and you even get a chance to explore some example enterprises. This class is really fun too for instructors who are interested in going through the training and being able to offer it. I think it's a really great way to just engage and take the temperature of what's going on in your particular area. It's a great way to see who may be willing or able to show up or register for other longer courses. Rather than taking the plunge and trying to plan for a 10 or 12-week course, you can do this one-day intensive, see who shows up, really take the temperature, understand what the wants and needs are in your community, and then decide if it's time to put on a whole farm planning or ag entrepreneurship course. The other great thing about this is that there's videos and all kinds of exercises to run the group through just within one day. The next course, and probably is our most widely taught and known course, is our whole farm planning course. And like I said, it has also been called Sustainable Small Farming and Ranching. Again, this was created through the partnership with University of Idaho and Rural Roots and WSU. The course is a longer course. It's often offered as a 10 to 12 or even 13-week course sometimes, depending on when and how it's offered. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have no idea why this is all squished together, but again, I apologize for the formatting translation when you post these onto here. So basically, this is just the learning modules that we go through within that course. We start with understanding what sustainable agricultural terminologies are. What is sustainability? Why is it important? We have oftentimes discussions that tangent that in terms of regenerative or permaculture or kind of other terminologies that are often used. The course uses, for the most part, these two texts are often used when the course is offered. We do have instructors that choose to switch this up depending on what the needs are within their community. But you can see here that it's a 12-week course, 10 lesson modules. Each of the modules are paired with a, kind of the weekly topic is paired with guest speakers or farmers or other resource providers. Each week is designed with integrated group interactions and discussions so that all the courses or classes really end up becoming a cohort, and oftentimes that's what we realize is the most valuable for our participants, is the kind of networking and relationship building that they get to do through being in that class together. They also work on creating a whole farm plan, which is really the kind of backbone of the course itself. And some other fun things that instructors do are something like producer profiles, where participants actually research farms in their area and do really quick presentations on that. I'm going to just show you real quick an example of a week-by-week schedule. So again, a 12-week schedule. Oftentimes this course is offered in the fall, late fall, winter, early spring is when we see these courses being offered, which is smart if you're trying to target farmer audience. It's not really the best timing if you're going to try to offer something through the spring, summer, and growing seasons. So, you go through the introduction, you get an understanding of the whole farm plan backbone that you'll be working with. You evaluate resources, and again, this goes back to kind of that whole systems lens. Get an understanding of sustainable farming practices. This particular course example includes plant pathology, which I believe this example is coming from Skagit, where they have integrated some classes and speakers that are specific to their area, including a field trip for Festival of Family Farms. Instructors can be really creative about the field trips that they offer, but we highly recommend that as part of the curriculum, is about 2 field trips. Sometimes they are done during the week of the class itself or on the weekend. Integrated pest management, sustainable livestock, equipment facilities, market channels, enterprise budgets, tools for success, and then final presentations. And so this course, really we want to be clear, is not a how-to farm. It's a taste of. It's really giving people the tools necessary to make the right decisions for their land and for their farm or food business. And again, like I had said, the backbone of that is going through this whole farm plan. And so each week is giving them a taste of something. It's really giving them an opportunity to think through their land, their business model. Again, it's not a deep dive in business planning because that's what ag entrepreneurship is going to go into, but it's really giving folks a great starting point. And so the whole farm plan that they create is also really considered a living document. It's something that we're wanting to give participants and students the framework to say, I can continue to check back to this plan. I can make adaptations. I can continue to track my efforts or where I've really grown or where I'm really struggling. We often hear from class participants that they love utilizing this. Some people get really creative, and as you can see here, there's just a little example of a really beautifully rendered little farm map. And so we encourage folks to also think kind of in 3 dimensions, or at the 30,000 foot, really take stock of what's happening on your land and what you'd like it to grow into, if you're being efficient with your time and energy and use of space. And so it's always really fun to watch folks go through this process, and then at the end they will do a presentation basically highlighting all of their kind of favorite elements of their whole farm plan with their whole cohort. And again, it's just a great opportunity for networking and learning from one another. So the next class that it's not required, but we highly, highly suggest that you go through the whole farm planning course before you do Agri-Entrepreneurship. And again, this is so funny, just the way this is chosen to change up. Now we've got some fun font with the shadow behind it. But anyways, we're going to talk about Agri-Entrepreneurship. And this is a really great course for those that are just more in the intermediate level, or have already been farming for a little while, or have been farming for a long while, frankly, and are just ready to dig a little bit deeper into business planning. And so through the business planning efforts of this class, you again are walked through a week-by-week schedule where you go through developing your goals and mission statement, really evaluating your personal and farm and financial resources, understanding enterprises and market analysis, looking deeper into marketing strategies. You also have a chance to take a deeper look at your own needs for facilities and operations. And I would say this is more coming from when you start to look at value-added food businesses or vertically integrated farm and food businesses. You see the need for on-farm infrastructure and facilities that are above and beyond the standard row crop wash and pack and cooling, that maybe you're getting into processing facilities that are regulated through different government agencies, so on and so forth. So this is where you can take a deeper look at that. It's also going to give you a deeper understanding of risk management, whether this is from a farm, on-farm perspective and your farming practices, or even through your financial practices. And so again, financial planning and management, and then also an aspect of that is insurance needs and things. Often is just like the not really fun parts of having a farm or food business is you are a small business owner. And so really this class is going to give you some of the tools to sit deep in that seat of being a farm and food business owner. Again, it's always looking to connect you to local resources and experts. And this class is going to basically walk you through, again, a 10 to 12 week scenario where you're going to get an introduction with your cohort and about what you're going to be getting into. You're going to be able to really look deeply at the product and industry that you are wanting to dive into or move towards, or that maybe you're already in it, but you're really wanting to be better at what you're doing. You're going to be able to analyze example business models and look at your business model and framework. Look at research techniques for not only kind of markets, but also for industry. You're going to dig deep into marketing plans and what type of marketing is going to be best for your farm or food business. You'll be able to take a little bit of a deeper dive into some of that value-added opportunities, which we are finding is one of the biggest opportunities for small farms, is really looking into value-added models. And when we say value-added, we mean taking something that is maybe a raw product. It could be a fruit or vegetable or even an animal product. And you're going to go one step further and create it into a packaged product or something that is going to get you a higher price point. It usually offers you a really great opportunity also to dig deeper into your brand. What is your brand? How are you going to step further into your brand? What are the practices that you're going to do, whether it's through your online marketing website, so on and so forth. And another really great thing that I think is really important that this course is going to walk you through is some opportunity to talk about succession planning and what it means. You may just be transitioning onto land, but really we want you to be forward thinking in your succession planning. And what is that land? How is it going to be handed off to another farmer when you get to a certain age, or what your kind of plans are for that? Again, this course is going to take you step by step through these things each week. You're going to have assignments and whatnot to go over. And then as a whole group, you're going to do, you're going to be able to do a presentation on your business plan. Some courses, for instance, in Jefferson County, they have done some really interesting things where the cohort of folks that go through this course, there's some top people that are selected from those courses where they actually do a pitch night, and they collaborate with what they call their Landworks Collaborative and some other community organizations to host a pitch night for these folks. So say they have a farm and food business, they've gone through this class, they've really buffed up their business plan, and now they're going to be given the opportunity to step in front of community members and business and investors and really give a pitch about what they're trying to accomplish or what their needs are. And oftentimes they can be paired with someone who may be able to give them some financing or has infrastructure or land or whatever. So again, another great kind of opportunity to lift up those folks that are seeking out these opportunities and connect them with more community resources. And then lastly, something that I did want to touch on is our OnFarm internship and or farm mentorship training. So in the past, we've had kind of different bubbles or bursts of really fantastic activity in different regions around on-farm internships. And some of you may know that in Washington State, there is a legal way to run on-farm internships. It is not illegal to have unpaid or unpaid interns on your farms, but that is why this program is really important. You can be a farm mentor. You can go through our Cultivating Success Farm Mentorship kind of application mechanism so that when you apply to be a farm mentor, we will help you kind of create the foundational structure for your internship so that you know that you are not only providing a fantastic on-farm practicum, but you're also hitting kind of all of those, kind of all the elements that are really important. So beyond just connecting interns that are seeking relationships or apprenticeships with established farmers, we oftentimes are successful at targeting kind of like a weekly, even a kind of a weekly schedule of courses or classes that internships can be plugged into. And so the example I wanted to give is something called the Field Program that was happening in the Jefferson County area. This was a basically a collaborative group of farmer mentors in the area came together to collaboratively host a group of interns. So several farms each had one or a couple interns. Mystery Bay Farm, Spring Rain Farm, Fin River Farm, and I think I might be forgetting one. There's a couple others. And they all came together hosted these interns, but every week there, or give or take, there was a course that they would offer for the entire group of interns. So, and then that course would be hosted on one of the particular farms, and they would rotate. So, for instance, if they were doing beekeeping or something about fruit and vegetable propagation, they would be at Spring Rain, and the Spring Rain farmer John Bello would walk that whole group through a half-day course. The cohort of interns also had the opportunity to have kind of reflection sessions with one another, so that they really could bond and like play off one another and talk through their needs and wants and what they were getting. Other kind of specialties within that farmer group may have been, for instance, Mystery Bay is a goat cheese dairy, so that livestock component, rotational grazing, fencing, animal husbandry, goat care, even food safety, what it takes to have a on-farm milking parlor and cheese making facility and all the elements that go with that. So this group of interns got a really fantastic opportunity. They got a really robust experience at many different farms. There's something very similar still going on in Kitsap, and all of this is with the hopes of continuing to foster that group of new and beginning farmers, connecting them with farmer mentors, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to pause there and just see if there's any questions or any discussion or anything that anyone else is interested in interjecting. Again, we have a fairly big cohort of people throughout the state in Washington that are offering this, and so I do want to take the time to list them off as well, but I would like to pause to see if there's any questions first of all. And feel free to enter questions in the chat box if audio doesn't seem to be working for you. Great. So some of the folks I did want to give shout outs to that are already doing a fantastic job offering these courses. And I am going to kind of go around the state clockwise, and starting in our Skagit County area, I'd love to give a shout out to Kate Smith and Lauren Imes in Island County, who have been running this course, both the whole farm planning and agricultural entrepreneurship course, almost every year. I literally took this course. I took the small farming and ranching course myself back in 2011 or 2012, when Chris Elder was actually the teacher. And now Kate Smith and Lauren are doing a fantastic job offering that. Also, Kate Ryan in Snohomish County has been offering both of these courses pretty regularly. She's also collaborated with some folks in King County and sometimes hosts several sites. So a shout out to Kate Ryan for her continued efforts. And then we're gonna zoom over to Spokane, where we have Pat Muntz in our Spokane County Extension Office, who has been offering both of these courses for quite some time as well. Thank you, Pat, for holding it down in the Inland Empire. And then down in Clark County, so we're going to circle, and you'll notice what we need is some folks in the Yakima, central eastern Washington areas to go through some training to be able to offer this course. So then we're going to go down to Clark County. Clark County has had a number of different instructors and coordinators that have offered these courses. Mainly they offer the ag entrepreneurship business planning course, and hopefully you'll be seeing that offered there. And then we have Stephen Bramwell in Thurston County, who often offers these courses. This year he's doing some great collaborations with some community colleges. And then circling back around onto the peninsula, we have Kelly Henwood, who has been holding it down for Jefferson County, Clallam, and Kitsap. And she does a fantastic job offering these courses when it makes sense. And then I did want to give a shout out also to Kylie Smith in Grays Harbor County, who has not yet offered a whole farm planning or ag entrepreneurship course, but has offered is a small farm in your future course for the first time. And so kudos to her for taking the plunge and working through that curriculum and trying it out in her community. So with that being said, after giving a quick shout out to those that are already teaching the course, I wanted to let everyone know that there's an opportunity to go through a training yourself. It is coming up quick this summer. We will be offering a Cultivating Success instructor training July 30th in Spokane, Washington. All of the current instructors are invited to that, and also those that are interested in teaching or hosting these courses in their communities. This is required to go through the training to offer this curriculum. And once you are trained, then it's a fantastic way to really plug into a great network of folks. So again, July 30th, Spokane, Washington. There will be announcements and information that will be coming out through our listserv and a number of others just to make everyone aware of that training. This is in an effort to really, like I said, get some other counties on board. We have currently about 10 counties offering these courses. So the more the merrier. And we need more small, new and beginning farmers who are educated and ready to be smart and savvy business owners. So I'm going to again pause there and see if anyone has any questions. And if there's any interest in offering or getting involved with the curriculum. So looks like that's it for today. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Please check back every month for our first Friday Food Systems Focus presentations. Next month, our presenter will be Kelly Henwood, who I had mentioned is working as our small farm and food systems coordinator in Jefferson, and then also providing resources in Clallam and Kitsap counties. She's going to talk a little bit about some of the small farms program that she has initiated in her area and how you may be able to go about spearheading work within your area. So we're hoping to have a good cohort of small farm and food systems coordinators, that kind of cohort that's working with an extension, tuning in for that. And again, thanks again. Feel free to reach out. You can also find us online at foodsystems.wsu.edu. Thanks, everyone.